Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to the CloudSapio Cybersecurity Sync. I'm joined today by Corey Livingston. He's from Splitz. Hi Corey, thank you for joining us today on the podcast.
What's up, Matt? Thank you for having me.
It's awesome that you decided to join us on here. I really am excited to learn a little bit more about Splitz. So let's just dive right into it. Can you tell us a little bit about Splitz and what it is that you guys do?
Wonderful. Yeah. So here at Splitz, we are a all-in-one business management platform for creators and musicians, independent musicians specifically, to manage their back office tasks, anything from revenue to distribution to real-time analytics, collaborating, and getting paid in real time. You can do that in 3 steps on the Splitz app.
That's fantastic. So it sounds like it's kind of like your own personal musician's manager in your pocket.
That's correct. Look at it as your G Suite, or if you've used NetSuite before, any of the CRMs that you've used in the past to manage your business, even for your personal life. I mean, you have notes, you have messages. What we're doing is compiling all of those actions into 3 steps. So yes.
That's fantastic. So is the idea kind of that musicians can use like venues and places that they're booking shows and those types of things and have all of their revenue come right into this app? And I'm sure, more than that, I'm probably simplifying it there. But is that kind of one of the use cases?
It's one of the use cases. So think about it like this, Matt. A musician is a small business owner. A creator is a small business owner. You being Matt, the creator of CloudSapio, is a business owner. You're managing the business while also creating and getting out there to the world. Those back-end tasks that you manage, day in and day out kind of get tedious. Number one is because you know that you have several different platforms you have to log into to do the one thing that you need to accomplish, whatever that may be. Maybe it's just managing who you collaborated with, managing the contracts, managing how many views you had on YouTube this week. And then the most important part is managing the revenue and seeing each and every view and what that costs. So you simplified it a little bit, but I just wanted to kind of take it outward and say that our platform is to maximize on decentralizing debunking all of the bad mantra out there about how creators are bad business owners, right? So what we've done is made it as simple as a 6-year-old using it. You can go in. Our platform is very intuitive with steps, and it just allows you to manage all those tasks. So yes, a venue, if they're going to be paying you out for a show, can pay you through Splitz. So now you can see each and every ticket sold, how much it sold for, and you pretty much can get paid in real time instead of that net 30 or net 15.
This is fantastic. I actually, it sounds like it's extremely useful. I'm actually a musician myself. And when I was playing with a band, I could see something like this being extremely useful. And it sounds like it goes like you're, to kind of expand on what you were saying, it kind of goes beyond even the musician life, even if you're like an author, a book, an author of a book or a writer, or you do any type of presentation, maybe you do comedy, anything like that. It sounds like it has many different avenues for many different artists out there.
Internally, we pretty much put all creators in a bucket. The way that you use our platform is where it differentiates. So you being a podcaster / blogger / musician, I know that for sure you are creating each and every one of those creative outlets with at least 2 or 3 people. So where our first steps take you on our platform is that, okay, who are you first collaborating with? Let's get that down. Once you decide that, now we're going to do the split sheets. You're a musician. A split sheet says how much you own to do the production, the songwriting, the record, whatever it is. You're going to input all of that inside the application. Next is now you're going to be uploading the content, whether it's the draft or rather it is the final version. All of that is going to be secure in a content library. The wonderful thing about our application is that we have a blockchain use case on our back end. So everything is secured upon sign up. So you have your own unique identifier like a MetaMask wallet. We're developing a way that where you don't have to bring in any third-party wallets. It's going to be created for you once you sign up with us. So to make it even easier. because you know how the NFT craze came and people were confused about like, it's cool, but I don't care if it makes it hard for me to do certain things. And that's why Bored Apes and all those things are where they're at now, because people are like, look, I get it, but where's the real use case other than you just taking my money and saying it's going to be somewhere one day?
Mm-hmm.
An NFT essentially is just a piece of content online that you can later trade for a value.
Mm-hmm.
The songs that you did with your band, or let's just say hypothetically you were in a band, the songs that you said that you did with the band, those songs are actually NFTs, right? You say at a certain date you will be trying to trade this for compensation, whatever that may be. We need to make sure that when you're collaborating and you're creating and going through these steps, everybody gets paid rightfully what they need to be paid, paid on time, and it tracks through that whole system. Mm-hmm. So I kind of elongating, since this is a podcast, and I want the people to understand that clearing up the management system and the business management flow is the number one thing that independent artists have complained about over the last, let's just say 10 years since the streaming age came. So we want to just make sure that you understand that these steps are to ensure that you, Matt, have securitized and have full ownership and control of whatever you distribute out there in the world, especially online.
It's fantastic. And I mean, it sounds like this is something that is very much needed. I mean, if I'm an independent artist, I want to focus on my art and my craft. I don't want to have to focus on the business. Anything that removes that friction of getting out there, playing shows, getting songs out, getting stuff on Spotify, whatever that may be, anything that removes that friction is going to be helpful. So what's the feedback that you're getting so far of the people that are using the app?
So feedback that we've gotten has been tremendous. And the reason it's been tremendous is because we had an early use case that went out to the public before we raised a small round, did a couple of accelerators. From there, we found that our current customers are sticky. Our current users are artists. They're starting to be podcasters, photographers. We are trying to expand the technology that we have on the platform, and it's been a little bit slow because, of course, we're still kind of building the team, finished raising our round, all the little nuances with running a startup. But the feedback has been great because customers have said, hey, Splitz, you guys have allowed us to centralize all of the management tools that we usually would have to do if we're not a mainstay artist, but we just want to make money in 3 steps. So we've had some pretty good feedback, and we're starting to trend higher with our weekly users. So we'll see how sticky that stays for the next 6 months.
That's great. And it sounds, I mean, the consolidation of apps, it sounds like this has many different use cases and a lot of different features in it. So whereas, you know, if you're starting as an independent artist, you might need it before, like a couple of different things, like you mentioned, a CRM and maybe some other tools, maybe a finance management app or something like that. This is kind of a pipeline into funneling that all down into one central place.
The most important steps, let's call it that, right? To every reader out there, from millennials to older millennials like myself to the people after me and the people to come. This is centralizing the most important steps: ownership, streamlined distribution, real-time analytics, and real-time revenue, all secured with blockchain. So I can never manipulate your data, Matt. You can never manipulate mine. And you'll always be able to pull up that particular content as long as you have an internet connection, anytime, any place. I don't matter if it's now or 75 years from now. It'll all be on chain. So this, you know, the importance of it, and I tell people all the time, I kind of taking a step back. The importance is not to necessarily get rid of anything else, because I hate the disruption word. What I like to tell people is that we are specializing in management tools. I come from the finance space. I come from the publishing space. I come from the streaming space. I mean, you name it. Like, I've been there, seen it before it is where it is now. And what the number one complaint is that, okay, that's great. I made a hit song. So Matt, you and I are in the band, right? We're a local band in San Diego. We're doing, let's just say 50,000 streams a month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's out there. We have a nice following. Like we could do 2 shows a week within a 25-mile radius and make decent money. But we're also out on the road. So now we're saying to ourselves, okay, we also are getting these streams, but these streams are only equating to $200 a month. Why is that? And if I am getting the $200, where's it coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Let me know so I can maximize that to increase my earnings. So there is no tools in place for you to see anything in real time. And that's what we're doing right now. YouTube Music is one of our test cases where if you put your music out there in YouTube Music, stream it, you will get real-time analytics. And that also equates to a dollar amount. Right now, I think streaming channels are doing anywhere from 0.003 cents all the way to 0.008. You're still not over a penny yet,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the other part of that, just to kind of connect it, is that you use publishing houses, ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, doesn't really matter. That's how you're pushing your data and your distribution flow when it comes back to you as an artist. So if you didn't need those publishing houses and you can have the information come directly to you, you would be a better business owner.
Sure.
The same way your bank account opens every day and you see your balance, you can manage your bills and your income because you see it. You're like, okay, I know I have X coming in, I have X going out, I can manage this. Why shouldn't that be for an independent artist as a business owner? So I just want you to understand kind of why I'm connecting all these dots and kind of elongating my answers so you can understand, how we're going to be managing the future here.
I appreciate the context a lot. I appreciate the information. Just having that data oversight. I completely agree with the bank analogy. Having just that information, you can do more with it. I kind of want to, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I wanted to actually dive into another pivot a little bit here. But I want to learn a little bit more about you. Like, what kind of brought you into the Splitz world, and like, how did you get into the musician business management side of app creation? Like, what brought you here? What?
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about your background.
It's interesting story. So post college, I kind of was confused about where I wanted to go. Right? I'm like, okay, what do I want to do? I was a college athlete, had some semi success. Once that ends, you're like, okay, what are we doing next?
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, I landed in the music space, managing artists in Arizona at the time, because I was at Arizona State, proud graduate, go Sun Devils. And we were just trying to get her out there. But this was also the time when J. Cole and Future were young. We're talking the artists that you know now when they had first got on the road and just started hitting 2,000 people venues. So we're saying, okay, we're able to open up for some of these artists. I'm able to call these managers and these promoters and get new artists in there. Back then, it was actually easier than it is now, right? I mean, if you had a little buzz and people knew you, you would be able to get it out there. So I went into artist management, did semi-successful with that, then moved back to Los Angeles, where I'm originally from, and then was able to get on a couple of different ASCAP BMI teams. I was also able to get on with a couple of new artists over the years, like 21 Savage was able to launch his career. The management team that I was with at the time also was having some of the same issues with artists that we were managing. And I say that to say this comes from the use case of me actually being on the streets and in the office with artists that just trying to pay their bills early on. Does that make sense? So my background comes from actually being in the trenches with these artists and actually hearing them before we even got to where we're at now, as far as where the streaming industry is going. The other part of that is that from 2018 to 2022, I actually put a pause on management because I was getting burnt out and went into investment banking. I work for a small medium-sized investment banking firm here in Los Angeles. And that allowed me to see kind of the world in a bigger finance lens to what happens on the back end. Doesn't matter what sector of business that you're in. Everything kind of moves systematically with supply and demand, and
Mhm.
also with systems. So I was able to take that and then kind of come into the tech world. I decided to go back with the artist that I talked with early on, or I managed early on. She was also kind of trying to pivot. She's like, I love tech. I think this is great. We have a real solution. We joined forces and been going at Splitz ever since 2019, 2020. Say right before the pandemic, we had it, and then the pandemic came and we did it.
That whole year is just kind of like, we don't know where to start it and end it, right?
Yeah,
2019,
it's like it
2020.
came. I don't know if we're still in it or we're done. But
Right.
yeah, we started then and we're here now.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you got a combination of both. Early in your career, you got to know the ground level of what musicians and what these independent artists are up against. And then later on, like you said, you learned a little bit of the back end about more of the financial aspect of it, from the investment banking. So that combination, bringing that into tech and then bringing it into a well-needed app, in the space, it sounds like it was the best of both worlds coming together in the perfect way possible. So
I think
congratulations.
so. Thank you, man. Thank you. I think it's just a journey, and understanding kind of where we're going is what makes a good tech founder, because, in the words of Steve Jobs, your customers or users don't know what they need until you give it to them.
Mhm.
And hopefully, our solution will stand the test of time.
That's so true. And I come across it pretty much almost every podcast that I interview a different, person that comes on here, and they tell me about their app or their, the thing that they're working on. It's like, you don't think of it until someone says it out loud and you're like, this is really awesome. This is needed. I'm not exactly in that space. I'm not an independent artist, maybe one day, because I am a musician, but it's good to know that if I ever enter that space, that there's something out there for me.
Yes, but you are a creator, Matt. You are a creator.
Sure.
So our content creator module is being built to be a little bit more robust. And we can get into that maybe at a later time if I come back on the
Sure.
show to maybe launch it to all of your users. But yeah, the content creator module is going to work pretty much the same way. And the only difference is that when you go out there to do a brand deal, those brands are going to come through Splitz to consummate the deal. So everything's in real time, no more net 120. Once you hit your milestones, let's just say your podcast has to hit 150,000 views. Right when it happens, the money will be released, instead of having to invoice Kathy down in accounts payable, and that's why I didn't talk about it, but you already know.
Fantastic.
So that is what's coming for the Splitz app, and we're very excited about what that's going to bring to our creators in real time.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. One other aspect of just kind of on you, that if you have any just advice or anything for young entrepreneurs out there, just entrepreneurs in general out there that are looking to get into the space, app building, maybe into tech, even in the independent artist space, any words of wisdom, any knowledge that you want to pass along?
Definitely. My advice is really try to get some on-hands training in whatever you're doing. I know that this world promotes, at least the internet does, go out there, start it. You can build an app for less than $1,500, this, and that. That's not the end point. That's like you have a journey, and in that journey, you're on this road, right? On that road, you have to put in all the steps in order to get to the end. And I know right now, I would have advice that you're not going to skip any steps, put in the work, try to get as much hands-on training as possible. And if I don't tell anybody anything else, please have some sales skills, interpersonal skills. And if you don't, align yourself with somebody that does, because this world is all consumer or front-facing responsibility. I don't care if you're down in the basement, you're still going to have to talk to somebody to get something done. Sales skills, interpersonal skills, communicative skills are really what's going to be important going forward. And just believe in yourself. And you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And just keep pushing.
I love that. Some people have asked me like, oh, like I want to learn sales or I want to get into sales, but I don't have anything to sell. And I'm like, you have yourself. Sell yourself.
Start there.
Start
there. It's 150% true. And if you have some insecurities about it, just get out in the world and don't be afraid, because that person you're talking to is probably as much as afraid as you are, whatever it is you guys are talking about. So just be yourself, and it's okay. They have to put their pants on every day, just like you do.
100%. Corey, we really appreciate having you on today. Before we end, is there a good way for anybody that wants to get in touch with you or to get in contact with Splitz? What's the best way to contact you if somebody had any additional questions or anything?
That's amazing. So of course, we're on all the social channels: Facebook, Instagram, Threads now, Twitter, X, everything, right? You can find us at Splitz. Or Splitz app, depending on what social media channel you're on. Also, you can reach me directly. My email address, if I tell everybody, please don't spam me, but it's going to be Corey@splitzapp.co, Corey @Splitz, SPLITZ app.co. Reach me directly. I mean, I'm one of those founders that will reach out and talk to anyone that wants to talk with me, because I understand I was at that place once where sending an email or just trying to reach out to somebody, at least get the respect of getting a reply. We're all not that busy, right? So reach out to me. And of course, all the social channels are there for you guys to get any more information. And also, of course, our website.
That's perfect. Corey, thank you very much. Everyone, just remember splitzapp.co. Go check them out. Sign up for their app if you're an independent artist or anybody
Please.
that needs, give them a shot and shoot Corey an email if you have any questions. Thank you again, Corey. We really appreciate having you on the podcast today.
Perfect. And everybody download it on iOS and the App Store today.
There you go. And everyone, thank you for tuning into the CloudSapio Cybersecurity Sync. We will see you all next time. Take care.
All right, guys. Thank you.